let's take a little look at this. This is the one of the two negative space drawings that we've been working on. This is the one that we hosed off, and I had my head in front of the entire process. It was so interesting. I just went right down there, and the tripod was higher because I was outside, and I couldn't see what was, since I was filming outside, I'm accustomed to filming down here on just the lens, not the selfies, the one, so that I can look at things myself. On the other side, I can see the whole screen. And outside, I can't see anything at all. So this is a redo of the salt glaze. I'm getting ready to brush it off. And I did the one, and I did all the prep work for it off camera by accident. I did it on the end of the paper, which is down here. Yeah. So I did a salt glaze on here, and it wasn't very, very wet. It still feels like sandpaper, and I showed scraping that off. Now I have some more salt glaze that I tried last night. I just thought it would add a little texture. Thought I'm going to try to do interesting things inside these. Well, that's what I wanted to do from the first place, but I don't think I knew exactly what I was doing when I started off. So here's kind of what it looks like. But I'm going to, right after this, take a fresh piece of paper and do a fresh salt glaze and some other methods. But that salt glaze page will have it at the top. So yeah, that's pretty nice in there. This is just one color in it. And so, yeah, there, see, it'll add interest to these very large spaces. And I think what I'd like to do here, I did do a lot of work on it the other day when I did this, making it more black from mixing. Well, actually, what I did was I just took everything and kind of cleaned up my palette and put them all together. That way you get a good black that you know everyone else agrees with, everyone else in the painting agrees with, and considering every color actor as a person or one. So I brought some more yellow up into this, but I put a lot of this black in, black and black and black. I went to go blacker there. See what would happen. So I'm going to go scrape it off inside the front door, and be back. All right, so I'm back, and that actually came out pretty nice. I put a lot of water on, and I changed the salt. Initially I used Tibetan salt, and I ground it so it'd be different sized chunks, and it's got stuck in. This salt also kind of got stuck on, but it's not quite as bad. But this is what I used. I used sea salt. Kind of salt that you just a little refresh your tongue with. On your palate, perhaps. Let's take a close look. It makes unexpected things, but it makes these sort of little firework type explosions. Maybe I'll try to make fireworks with one on the next test page, which is coming up. And then I put it in these two parts too. It's kind of nice. It didn't make little flower bursts like I thought, but it's coming along. And then I don't know how the whole composition is going to hang together. Right now it's hanging together pretty well. And this might be a very nice place to write a poem or something, to finish it all off. It's not going to be finished off for a while, but that's where I'm going. And I'm getting this sunrise yellow to spread up into there because I know I had that in mind. I guess I should add some of it here. But my main idea was to keep the colors only in the purely negative space. We can count that and pretend it touches the edge of the page. Only in the completely enclosed spaces. Something like this would be fun to play with on a computer too. And do your negative space drawing, and then decide what you want to do as far as fills go. And if you use whatever you want to use, your paint bucket or a brush, whatever, it would fill and stop right there. You might get a real interesting thing. Well, I might try that with, I think I have still photographs of the drawing of these, so I could take that and put it into Photoshop and make sure that, I'll go ahead and close some off a little bit more and see what happens. That would be a lot of fun. Another thing I thought of with this, you could conceivably use these units to make a color wheel. Like you could use these units to do experiments in. And just keep going until it looks right, and it'll be a finished painting before you know it. Yeah, so stop chuckling over things here. That might not be bad text to put on here. Not in the bubble, but to write it nicely in there. We'll see. That's a good idea. Oh no! I stopped it. Okay. Have I been taping all this time, doing nothing? Oh my goodness. Well, who knows? I'll check it later. I'm going to try the fireworks. This represents a black night. sky. I am very accustomed to working with a size 7 round. This is a little bit larger than that most of the time, and I very rarely use a flat brush. I mentioned that over here. I also meant to mention here, these little darknesses like this, when I was going over it with the flat brush. This is dry brush out here. Really good example of dry brush. I'm picking up water with a dry brush and painting with that. But these little edges were made because these tiny crumbs of wax. I don't know if you've watched that one, but it was just taking paint and water off and off and off and off for the longest time. And it was puddling up on the edges. But that just plain old candle wax does that. It's pretty good. That was a lot of fun. Okay, that looks like an okay night. I need something a little darker there, though. And I know that this is going to be kind of a random coloration, so I don't have to get too neat with this. But I think I want to indicate smoothly on the edges, and then it's all one color in there. Okay, here we go. You know what? I'm going to mix two things together. This is wet into wet. Oh, no it isn't. This is a high intensity. Not exactly wet. It's not dry either. It's a high intensity color. It's not a wash color going into here. And then, let's see what happens if I put salt too. Looks like that might make something interesting there. Ooh, ooh. Let's do one more little try here. A high intensity dropped into there with a goodly amount of water too. I have no idea. Well, I have some idea. Combination of this. Ooh, this one is off the screen. And this. And this was a very long thing that I